or if we have to be nice and loud, you know, like, because Daryl's just a bit too quiet.
Amazing, no problem.
Right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Honestly, to see so many faces here is absolutely fantastic. My name is Harry. I'm actually Daraj's brother. He's 9 years younger than me. So when I hear him speak, I'm like always blown away by what he's doing and everything. And like, I remember actually, he didn't touch on this, when he had a job here at Warwick. He was working at WMG, and he basically left his job to do this startup, and he left his salary. He like didn't get paid for like the first 3 months of going into the startup, so completely went all in. And when I look at what he's done in terms of raising money, building this thing, you know, it kind of, for me, I look at it and I'm just always like so in awe of it, and it kind of gives me like so much pump and energy. So thank you so much, and thanks for listening to that story. And today, for me, like I'm here, my name is Harry, I run how can I describe myself? I became an entrepreneur theoretically 6 years ago. I started my business. I had 12 years in a career in marketing, and then basically 6 years ago, I decided to go freelance and start my own agency. So companies could work with me and I could work with multiple companies at the same time. And then before that, I graduated from Warwick. So I graduated here in 2008, which makes me double the age of everyone here. So yeah, I'm quite old. And I'm so delighted actually, because we have Ruth with us. Ruth, I've been working with over the last year or so. So what I'm gonna do actually, the way we're gonna do this, Ruth, is I think I'm gonna like interview Ruth, right? And Ruth's gonna share her story, her background. She's got so much amazing content to share on marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset. And we're gonna grab that from Ruth. And then I think Ruth's then gonna ask questions at me. I'm gonna do it that way. And then questions from the audience. Does that sound all right? Is that okay?
Sounds
all right. Because for me, it was like, if I do this conversation, I'm gonna like, I have some amazing conversations with people in like bars, restaurants, and nobody gets to hear them. No one gets to hear them. But today, we get all these wonderful people to hear it. So
amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So Ruth, for the wonderful people here in the audience,
yes.
for like, you know, we are, from my perspective, in front of these guys and girls could be on YouTube, watching Netflix, could be doing a million things right now, but they're here sat in front of us, right? In what I would call like a live podcast simulated environment. So can you tell them like who you are, your background, you know, what you're into, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah, amazing. So hi guys, lovely to meet you all, and thank you so much for spending your evening here with us. I really hope that we can give you so much great value and learning about marketing, business, and anything in between. So please don't be shy at the end when we open up to questions. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I don't know if you want me to delve into the origin story, if you just want me to kind of
I think so. Just go where you want to go, and then I'm just going to start interrupting you.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. No, that sounds good. So yeah, as I mentioned, my name is Ruth, and I'm currently a marketing specialist. I focus on personal branding for entrepreneurs, which means amplifying their social media platforms, but then also any other media that you would see them on. So that could also be newspaper, that could be an online article, that could be a podcast, that could be YouTube. It's a plethora of different things, but it's essentially how you present yourself online, in person, and how people feel about you. So that's a big thing that I work on. And I often get asked, you know, how did you get into this? Why personal branding? Why marketing? And all that good stuff. So essentially, I had always kind of was interested in marketing. I was creative. And I really, really enjoyed doing anything that was involved with editing, colors, fonts, and all that good stuff. But I wasn't sure what kind of career to go down. Eventually, I went to Aston University, and I did business and international business and management, which was really good.
What year was this? What year was this?
Oh, I don't know, a couple of years ago now.
A couple of years ago,
yeah. It's been a hot minute. I did that, and I also studied Mandarin. Once I graduated, I got a normal job, but I didn't exactly enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And as any super ambitious person, you kind of get itchy feet.
What was a normal job to you?
Ooh, okay.
What does normal look like?
Okay, so a normal job might be, you know, going into an office.
Yeah.
You know, typing up on the computer. And I think essentially it's just not being stimulated, not being challenged at work, not being excited by what you're doing. And I wanted to be excited. I wanted to come in and feel like I was making a really big difference. So I think that drive is what led me to...
So you felt that you didn't fit there?
No, I didn't feel like I fitted in, no, not at all.
But then that's a really cool self-awareness piece, because then you have to like understand that and then act on it.
I think acting on it is probably the hardest part. Are you brave enough to make a decision that changes your life? That's the question.
You know, before we go any further, I was going to ask, in the audience, how many people are on LinkedIn? Hands up who's on LinkedIn.
Oh, amazing. exciting.
Okay.
This is such
All
good
right.
news.
Hands up, who posts on there regularly?
Oh, okay. I see one or two.
You see? So this is the bit where we're on there and we know it's important to be on there.
Yes.
But then it's the acting bit.
Yeah.
The bit where, do we want to get involved in the action? Or do we want to just still look at it? All right? So this is where I think and this is where I think it's important that we go into deep on this, is that early in your career, you've done action.
Yes.
So I want to go into depth, and I think, there's one thing that you did, which was quite big. So I don't know, do we go jump to that? Or
Yeah,
do
we can do. Yeah.
So talk me through this big action, because I think a lot can be learned from that.
Okay, so essentially what happened is one of the days after work, I went home and I had made a decision that I knew that this was going to be one of my last weeks. So is anyone a big fan of like podcasts, the Diary of a CEO podcast? Anyone really into like listening and learning, things like that?
I listen to the podcast.
Okay, cool. So I was a really big fan of Stephen Bartlett and I really wanted to work with him. During my lunch breaks, I'd be listening to the podcast, and I think at a point my managers knew that this is kind of what I wanted to do. So one of the days after work, I heard that he was speaking at a show called The Black Business Show. And at the time, I actually couldn't even afford the ticket. So my friend got me a ticket the night before the show. And I decided that if I was going to attend the show and if Stephen was going to be there, then I was going to pitch for a job and quit my job on the same day. So with all the bravery that I had left in my pocket and with all the courage that I had, I went down to the Black Business Show. I sat in the same seat for 3.5 hours waiting for Stephen to arrive. He had come in and I had sat on the very edge of the entire auditorium. There was about several hundreds of people in the room. As soon as the Q&A session came in, I was the first person to grab the mic and I said, "Hi, my name is Ruth Meku and I love your podcast." And I pitched to him. It was about 90 seconds. I was shaking, I was nervous, and anybody near me could tell that I was really quite uncomfortable. But as soon as I was done, he laughed at me. And once he was finished laughing, he then offered me time in his company. And that time got extended. So initially it was a couple of weeks, and then it ended up being much more than that. And after that experience, I decided that I was going to quit my job and work for Stephen. And that's exactly how it happened. It was very quick, very overnight, but also I learned that if you really want something, you have to take the risks. Because as you can imagine, there was a lot of people in the room. It was very embarrassing. He could have said no, but I had nothing to lose. And in fact, he said yes. And I was really lucky.
Walk me through okay, all right, this is, I love this story. You know why I love this story? Because it's like courage, right? You're going in there and you have to lose to win.
Yeah.
Right? You
Absolutely.
have to lose to win. So you know you're walking up to this guy.
Yeah.
And he could say, just get lost.
Yeah, he could.
Right? He doesn't know who you are. He probably gets thousands of people saying, I want a job, I want a job.
Absolutely.
So I want to know, in the 90 seconds, can you give like a rough idea of what you said?
Yeah.
I just want to hear it, because I think, like, if I want to reverse engineer it, and almost like, can it bring value to the people in the room?
No, absolutely. I think the first thing is I just spoke from my heart. I didn't rehearse on the train, and I was coming up from Birmingham. So I was working in central Birmingham, and the journey was about an hour and a half. But I didn't really meditate much on what I wanted to say. I thought if I spoke from my heart, he would be swayed by my authenticity.
Yeah.
And he was. So I think what I actually said was, "Hi, my name is Ruth," and I thought I could start off by relating with him. So I told him that I also grew up in a really African household. And if you're an immigrant, you kind of know what that's like. It's quite strict. They might want you to have traditional job roles like being an engineer or a doctor. And I decided to do none of those things. So I was already feeling like a bit of a disappointment. So I told him all the things that I thought we could relate on. And then I honestly just ended with, can I have a few minutes of your time? He then offered me a role. I didn't even ask for a role.
He just knew that he could feel your energy vibration, right?
But then also, I think when you're speaking to somebody that has the same enthusiasm, the same kind of energy, and the same courage as you, they see something in you and they lean into that, because I was the only one that did that day. And even though he's had people pitch for roles, it was usually through an inbox or through an email or through Instagram. I don't think he's ever had the experience with someone being brave enough to speak to him in a public place, knowing that they could be openly rejected and still accept them. And I think he appreciated that. So I may not be able to repeat everything I said, but I think it's really important to speak from the heart.
There is an interesting thing, actually. When you're in the workplace, when you're like trying to find a co-founder, when you're trying to like start a business, actually the people that you work with, the people that you engage with, you do find a frequency that you resonate.
Absolutely.
And then that frequency can take you so far. So actually, the fact he recognized something in you, and then you recognized something when you started working with him, because obviously you don't know what he's going to like until you worked with him, right?
Yeah.
So talk me through, so past that, so then from that moment, that big kind of breakthrough,
Yes.
no CV, no cover letter.
Yeah, no CV, no cover letter.
Yeah?
Straight in there.
Straight in there.
Yeah.
No application process
No
where
application.
AI scanned your thing. No ChatGPT CV that you generate to send to,
Nope.
So what happened? Give me the next phases after that.
Yeah, so I still had to do the hard work of chasing his team. So initially he said that his team would reach out to me. I was really quick. The night that I got home, I emailed him and his entire team. And I just said, hi, my name is Ruth, in case you didn't know who I was. I now work with you. And I was very brave and very audacious. I'm sure they were sick of me, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of telling them what I wanted. So I had spammed the team for some time. And then eventually I joined the team. And it was like a really great welcome. They were really hardworking, small team at the time, but they were really super ambitious. And it was great to learn all the elements of having a podcast, working with Stephen and going to talks with him.
Amazing. So you're basically an entrepreneur. It's almost like, you wanted to do something impactful. You work for this really cool, impactful entrepreneur in his impactful company.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
So once I had worked with the team and I did lots of different things. I did marketing, I did guest booking, I'd go to all the recordings when we would record people like Simon Cowell and lots of other celebrities. And then shortly after, I thought, I've learned all of this knowledge. I've now got it in my pocket. What's next?
Yeah.
And I felt like maybe I may not fit into a normal company anymore. I kind of felt as though I could do something on my own.
Really?
So I started off by freelancing. And I was very quick to get another role. I actually, similar to how I was working with Stephen, I just saw another founder's Instagram post and they had their email in it. And I just pitched myself again. And I had an interview. I think I got the job within a couple of days. It was very quick turnaround. Again, but I think it's just putting yourself out there as much as possible and not being afraid of the rejection. And that's how I started my freelance journey.
You know what's interesting about doors, right? Like everybody in the room, I can imagine, everyone's going to either try and get a job right now, get an internship, maybe start a company with somebody or whatever. But if you think about Ruth's story, she didn't go the traditional route. She didn't go onto the company website and apply, right? She went straight to the person who runs the company. And I think, there's always, do we call it the third door? What is it? It's like there's always another way to get something to happen.
Yeah.
You could always unlock the moment. So I think the fact that you went from working in a company like that to then jumping to freelance. So walk me through what the freelance world looks like now. Because really, in my world, you're an entrepreneur in the creative world.
Absolutely.
You're almost creator entrepreneur, right? So for yourself and for the brands that you work with. Mm-hmm. And actually what's interesting is, if you think about Ruth, if you think about what she is, every entrepreneur needs to be Ruth. Everyone needs to be a content creator. Every single person. Because if you are, it opens up so many doors. So I'm like, Ruth, tell me what this looks like now in your world. I know it's marketing, branding. It's not a specific industry in terms, it could be in any industry. Yeah. But tell me what that's looking like right now. Because it's quite new, I guess, as well.
It is, yeah, no, absolutely. I think, honestly, I actually categorize being a freelancer the same as being a business owner. I consider freelancers as entrepreneurs because we still have to have systems, we still often have to have staff, we still have clients to manage, and we operate in the same way that running a business would. So I think it's actually, as you said, very similar. But I think some of the pivotal things that have helped with my success is actually posting regularly on LinkedIn. You'd be surprised how often people reach out to you just because you've done one post. Now, LinkedIn is not the same as other platforms where it's a little bit more saturated. So TikTok, there's lots of content on there, lots of random bits, fun stuff, dancing, whatnot, no problem. Then there's Instagram, a bit more polished, a bit more unforgiving towards mistakes, but you can still do really well there. But what I like about LinkedIn is that you get straight through to the key decision makers. So on Instagram, the CEO may not be on there, but their social media manager might be. But if you want to get the key decision makers, just get on LinkedIn and post. The truth is, there's only 1% of users on LinkedIn that actually post. So if you post, even if you just post once a week, you already stand out because no one else is posting. So there's a much lower threshold to do well. And I think, honestly speaking, that's how I got a lot of my speaking engagements, a lot of my clients, is honestly just putting myself out there, not because I'm perfect, not because You know what the truth is? It's not even about being the absolute best in the game. It's about being the loudest. Because the people who are the best in the game, they're not talking about their work. Nobody even knows what they're doing or where they are, who they are. It's about being the loudest. Success includes visibility. And if you're not visible, how are we going to know what you're doing?
To tell you what's interesting, I'm going to add to that, right? So I don't post on LinkedIn that often. I'm going to get more, obviously need to.
I hope so.
But like, what's interesting is I posted a few things and I don't get any likes, any comments, any shares, like nothing. So in our worlds, when we post something and nothing happens, you're like, why bother? There's no point, shouldn't bother. But what's funny is I walk into a meeting with a decision maker and they're like, Harry, I really love that post that you did. I really loved it. It really like spoke to me. And I'm like, I go back on the post and I'm like, I didn't see a like, I didn't see a share, I didn't see a comment. What on earth are you talking about? And the reason they don't do it is because on LinkedIn, when they share, when they comment, when they like, it's telling other people about them. And they don't want that. They want to be on there, they want to see it, they want to consume it, but they don't want to engage with it because they don't want people to know what they like and what they don't like. People like to keep their privacy. It's something very, very interesting to think about. So actually, if the content that you make is in your heart and it actually resonates with your core, get it out there because it will resonate with someone else's core as well. And that's what I realized actually. And I'm like, wow. And if I tell you that, some of these people that are then you're getting influence over, they will give you a contract. They will help you start your company. They will find, like, it's really, really interesting how that works. So yeah, I really resonate with that point on LinkedIn. I think it's very underrated, very underused, as we already proved when I said who posts on there, no one said they do. So walk me through also, I want to talk about Diary CEO podcast.
Yes.
And now you're running a new podcast.
Yes, yeah.
Talk to me about this new podcast and the stars in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now I'm working with an amazing team. I'm working with Alfred Samba. So Alfred Samba was the ex-global head of social for Gymshark. He was there at the inception stage to kind of get Gymshark to where it is now, and he exited to start his own agency, which is Butterfly Effect. And I now work with him. And also, if you don't know, Rory Sutherland, who is honestly the uncle and the goat of
the granddad of marketing.
Ad marketing of honestly our generation, and he's honestly been amazing. He has an amazing understanding of marketing and psychology, which is what makes him so special. So two brilliant minds have come together to create a podcast called Bottleneck. So Bottleneck is focused on dealing with the issues that people don't want to talk about.
Okay.
So we're trying to explore different marketing and business and operational problems that founders usually go through, but are kind of struggling to have open conversations with. And
is it because it's taboo, or because it's just not particularly, like, there's not enough content around it or thought, or what is creating that lack of content in that area, do you think?
I actually think it's a part of honesty.
Oh, wow.
Like, I think sometimes in the midst of all the things that you're kind of dealing with, it's quite hard to kind of come out for air and say, do you know what, this is what we're struggling with. This is the solution and this is what we want to do to kind of improve it. But then also we're trying to create a platform where if you're struggling with something in business, we have solutions for you. Okay. Practical answers to the things that you've gone through in your business, whether it's a clothing brand, whether it's a tech business, whether it's a recruitment brand, whether it's a marketing agency. We have solutions, and we want to have those really open conversations and keep away those and kind of reveal the secrets behind running a business. That's what we kind of want to do on the podcast.
What guests have you had so far?
So we've had the manager of the Sidemen, so that's Jordan. Okay. We've had Ben Francis, who was a really good guest.
That's the CEO of Gymshark,
Yes,
right?
that's the CEO of Gymshark. We've had Lottie White, who's also been on Dragon's Den.
I've seen her. She's like the fitness lady.
Yes.
Or like the kind of...
Maya Master. Yeah, the amazing work. So we've had a really good plethora of guests so far.
Can you give away any future guests, or is it under wraps?
I mean, I think we're going to start touching the US.
Okay.
And have a few special guests coming in from there, which is going to be really exciting.
Should every entrepreneur have a podcast?
No. I don't believe in that. I believe it's really important to do what you're passionate about and to do what you're able to put your energy into. And I think having a podcast is highly underrated. It's almost like running an entire business. So you don't have to have a podcast, but being a guest on other people's podcasts will give you a great amount of visibility, which will always benefit your personal brand, yourself, your company, and all that good stuff. So that's really important.
Amazing. Is there any questions that we've got while Ruth's here? I know time is obviously a factor as well. If there's any questions, put your hand up. Because Ruth, for me, is like the modern day marketing machine. Like if you started a company right now, I would literally message Ruth on LinkedIn and say, I need to speak to you. And in about 60 minutes, she would take you through what you need to do over the next 3 months. And then you would automatically see increase in visibility, awareness, engagement, and conversion, right? So if you've got any questions now, and if you don't have any, I'm going to fire them. but yeah, I've got one over there, actually. Should I chuck the mic over? You sure? There you go.
Thank you for coming, Ruth, to us today. I really liked one of your examples of knocking on the door of opportunity hard and frequently. Is there any, like, what would your top 3 traits or skills be for achieving success and building such a strong brand in the marketing industry?
Great question. What's your name? Prithvi.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Prithvi. So to answer the first part of your question, what are some of the skills that you need? I would honestly say the biggest skill isn't something tangible. It's probably having the right mindset. I think being able to know that failure is actually okay. Like being comfortable with making mistakes publicly, being comfortable with not succeeding at times, being comfortable with feeling really embarrassed. I think that's probably the biggest game changer. Because when you see a lot of successful people today, millionaires, entrepreneurs, content creators, whoever you deem successful, they didn't become successful overnight. They had a plethora of mistakes that they made over the span of their career that people maybe have not noticed. And all you see is the cream on top. All you see is the iceberg on top. And you wonder, how did you get here? But the truth is, the foundation, like the principle is, are you trying? Are you failing? Are you attempting? Are you experimenting? Those are the things that actually make you successful. And if you're not willing to have the right mindset, to be embarrassed, if you're worried about what your friends think on social media, you're already behind. You need to have enough confidence in what you're doing and your ability in yourself in order to even have that first step. And once you have the right mindset, you're set. Because everyone's going to make mistakes at some point. The faster you can make the mistakes and get over yourself, the better. So to answer your second question about building a personal brand, I think the biggest thing is actually being authentic. Now, a lot of times, or at the moment, social media is quite saturated. And you'll see that there's a lot of trends because people are essentially copying one another. No problem. What will always make you stand out is if you have the ability to be comfortable in your own skin. What makes people relate to me is the fact that I can be really honest about the mistakes that I've made, being embarrassed, being an immigrant child and having to be told off by not being a doctor or being an engineer, and all those good things. But I had to be vulnerable and be open with you in order for you to be able to relate with me. So you'll always find that when you're being open, even with your friends, the friends that you're open with are the ones that you're closest to. Social media is in the same way. If you're open and you're vulnerable and you're able to have really open conversations about maybe your journey, the struggles of running a business or starting what you're doing in any capacity, that will always draw people because people are always looking for human connection at any level of capacity. So I think being really vulnerable, being really open and honest is a really good start. But then also I was always advised, don't share anything that you haven't healed from because then it can open up wounds. However, if you have healed from something, then go ahead and talk about your journey. People really care about the story arc. They don't just care about your success, but they also care about the stuff in between, the failures, the mistakes, and all that stuff. So yeah, I would say that's a big part of it.
And I want to add on that. I want to think about, imagine you're here today, right? You've come to this talk, you've heard my brother talk, you've heard Ruth talk, you've asked an amazing question. Imagine, you go on LinkedIn tomorrow, and you just write a summary of how you felt today. It's like journaling, right? Just imagine you say something like, so I went to this talk last night, right? And it wasn't what I expected, right? I was told X, Y, and Z, and this is what I thought about. And now going forwards, I'm going to try this, 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 and this. And that opens up to your vulnerable thing, right?
It does.
Because at the end of the day, when you post that, you put it out there. And now suddenly you're vulnerable. Because what are people going to think?
Yeah.
I actually think one of the biggest challenges we've got is we are crippled by what other people think about us. It cripples. Even me.
Yeah.
When my brother attacks me on something I've done, he'll say to me, Harry, that idea is terrible. And it cripples me. But at the same time, I jump up and I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it on the chin. Take it on the chin. Take it on the chin. So I think you're right. I didn't think of it in the vulnerable aspect. And that little tweak that you said, which don't go on things that, you know, like you haven't healed from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge self-awareness piece,
Yeah.
right? That's a huge thing. I mean, you know, like if I think about it, your mum, your dad, your siblings, they get through your shield,
Yeah.
right? And then even like for me, even in the outside world, I'm quite lucky actually. I can get any comment on my social from anywhere. Either it's a positive one, or it's this guy's an idiot, and it doesn't really affect me that much. I always stay central. But with my family,
Yeah.
it's harder.
I completely understand that.
How do you so in terms of social and building, and you've seen the best people build on there,
Yeah.
right? What are your tips for the audience in terms of building up their kind of presence on social and kind of really embracing it? Because for me, it's the unlock for both a career and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, I'd say start off really simple. If you're looking to build your personal brand, either for yourself or for your business, start off really simple. I always say dominate one platform first. There's no point going on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, and Snapchat and thinking that you're going to be okay. You're going to burn out. You're just one person. You may not have an entire team behind you. So I always say start off with one platform, let it be LinkedIn, maybe TikTok. TikTok is optimized for quick growth. LinkedIn is great if you like copywriting and maybe you're a bit camera shy. And start off by just posting regularly. So regularly doesn't mean every single day, 5 days a week or 7 days a week. No. What's regular to you? Can you do once a week? Can you do a big recap once a month? Is there a cadence that people can kind of follow, or a journey that you can like regularly update your audience on? If you're sharing a story, share it consistently. So whatever that capacity is for you, start there and just start off with being consistent, because every platform rewards consistency, especially TikTok.
Amazing. On top of that, how much time do we have left? Do we still got time? Yeah, I just before we take loads of questions, I just want to say, on top of what Ruth has said, hands up, who knows where the Warwick Innovation District is on campus? Hands up. Does everyone know where it is? It's where we do exams. You know the building, which is like an old sports centre? So in there is a space called the Climb, right? It used to be an old climbing room. And I'm in there every day. And I'm in there at the moment helping a lot of the SMEs and a lot of the companies that are close to campus and science park. But what I'm also doing, which is under the radar, is students are in there currently starting their businesses or business ideas. So my kind of call to action to you all is come and see me in the junction, and I will help you with content on LinkedIn for your personal profile and your company profile if you have one. And I'll also help you secure the placement or the job offer or whatever. We're going to do what Ruth did. We're going to go on LinkedIn. We're going to find a company we like, and we're going to go after the CEO and get you a place in that company. But you need to come to the Climb and see me there. That's what I was going to say.
Because it works.
Because it works. So yeah, questions? Any questions? Yeah. Over there in the corner.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. I also got Aston and I'm studying business management, so I was really happy to hear that. And I'm finance. Well, I don't went to finance or marketing. And what you just described as marketing being something that stimulates your mind, and it's more something that you enjoy and you're obviously drawn to. And I feel like I am too. But I just want to ask, like, what's the most fun thing about your job? Because I don't think I'm an office type person where
Yeah.
when I sit down and look at a computer 24/7, I don't think I could do that type of job.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, what your day-to-day is really.
Yeah. No, great question. What's your name?
Jenny.
Jenny. Nice to meet you, Jenny, and thank you for your question.
From Aston as well.
Oh, from Aston.
To Aston.
Love that.
Think of that.
Aston University, we go. So yeah, no, I'm the same. The idea of sitting at the same place every day and like working a normal 9 to 5 would set me on fire. Like I just could not physically do that. So I think what I do on a day-to-day basis varies quite drastically. So I'm gonna just vaguely touch upon it. And then if you have more questions on like the nitty-gritty bits, I'm gonna be around to answer them. So for example, on a Monday, I will head over to the studio to do a podcast recording, and I have to physically be there to welcome the guests in. Sometimes I do a bit of guest research before they come in to prepare Alfred and Rory. And then once we're done with the podcast, I will then head back over to a studio in office, and we will plan any brand deals. So I also work quite closely with Alfred Samba's branding team, and he may have a deal with maybe Fiverr, maybe Zoom Info, or maybe a normal brand that might want an ad. I'll go in there, I plan it with the team, and we shoot it for the day. The next day is probably a very content-heavy day. I might have to write some copy for the podcast or for Alfred himself as a personal brand manager, and then the next day it might be a back-to-back meetings, and these meetings can vary into lots of different things. It can vary, I guess, wherever I am in the UK, but then also in person, and that might be going to an event with Alfred to speak to students or to a company or to a team or to do a motivational talk. I do them as well during the week. This is one of them, I guess, and it really just depends on what I have capacity for, number one, but number two, what's urgent at the time. So I break my time up between working on the podcast, working on my personal brand and content, which is why I have my lovely videographer with me today, and public speaking. But all of those things fall into either writing copy, watching podcasts, reading, listening, and learning into some capacity within marketing.
Yeah, that sounds like really fun and something I would enjoy doing. What would you say is the best way to break into the industry?
Ask for a job right now.
I'm personally not hiring, but I'm more than happy to help you to get a conversation with someone that might be hiring. I would say if you've never done it before, I would start off by doing like some work experience or an internship or something to kind of just get your toes in the game and see the kind of things you might enjoy. So I don't enjoy copywriting, but I had to do a lot of it to know that I don't enjoy it so that I could get the support that I need to cover that area. What I do really enjoy is managing the podcast, doing the socials for that, and guest booking. Like I really like that kind of thing. So I'd say start off by looking online at companies that maybe you like their social media or you like their marketing. Go onto LinkedIn, my favorite platform, see who's managing their socials, see who's the marketing director, and just send them a really direct email. Search for their company domain email and put their name in there. So you're not just sending like an email to a random inbox that no one's gonna check. Send it directly to the person and just put yourself forward. And I always say, you may be rejected by the first person, but you won't be rejected by the 100th person, which means that it's a numbers game. The more you send out, the more likely you have a chance to get a response. But if you're not putting yourself out there, you will never know what you're capable of doing.
Yeah. And I second that by saying, you know what, like the first one, they never get back to you.
Yeah.
Second one, never get back to you. Third one, and like it's like number 87. So can you take 86 no's?
Yeah.
And you can, because you want it.
Stunning. Amazing.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We can have one last question. Use the time constraints for
Sorry, as a marketing specialist, is there something that you've tried before that did not work?
That happens on a daily basis.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that happens on I'm gonna try my best to be specific, but with marketing, because consumer interests are changing, trends are constantly changing, the algorithm is changing, you're constantly going to have to do bits of trial and error, and sometimes that doesn't work, but that's why you do the trial and error. So recently I had a team meeting and we decided that we were gonna really measure how we're experimenting. And the reason why we have to experiment is because sometimes our ideas don't work. We might have a video and we want to put the captions at the bottom instead of the top, and we realize that maybe that gets less engagement. So we'll do it again and put the captions on the top, and we measure that. And then, okay, what about the sound? Did that work? No? Okay, change the sound. What about the positioning of the person that's speaking? Did that work? No? Okay, then we do it again, or we try something else. So it's like, are you consistently iterating? Are you consistently changing? Because the truth is, everything around you is changing. So if you're already not iterating, you're falling so far behind, it's criminal. So yeah, the things don't work all the time, but I think just being able to know that it's the game. This is a part of the game. This is a part of my job. This is part of my career. And it applies to every career down that you go. Like, I don't think it's just marketing. I think in every career, there's an element of trial and error. There's an element of, oh, this isn't really working. what are you going to do about it? You're going to sit and cry, or you're going to try to figure out a better solution?
I actually think on top of that, just to finish up, you know, like how many people use like ChatGPT in this room? Hands up. Gemini, right?
Nana banana.
Nano, all these things.
Yeah.
So I've been using it quite extensively over the last year. And when I talk to it like another human being. I talk to it like it's like a friend.
I call mine Karen.
Do you?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like my colleague Jay over at the top. He's like, you've got to spar with it. You know, you've got to like, you've got to trade with it, trade blows with it, right? And actually, I think that's affecting every role in every industry, because now we have this thing that we can talk to. I don't know quite to describe it. It's like the prediction machine.
Yeah.
It'll give you the predictable thing, the predictable answer. But humans are unpredictable, right? So I'm like, I think for us to really succeed, we have to really go into the depths of our souls and think, what is the best thing we can do right now? What's the bestest, greatest action we can make right now? What's the biggest impact we can do?
Yes.
Right? Where's the impact? AI is not the impact. Human is. So I think that whatever we do with companies, like building a company or going to a start, whatever you're going to do, just do it with impact. That's all I would say. And if it's not impactful, just go back to the drawing board and think, next time I do it, I want to make it even more impactful. But even now I'm thinking, me and Ruth are thinking, you know what we're thinking? Next show, we're going to have ushers in the room so that everyone gets in the first few rows, because then we can have a greater impact on what we're saying. And I said that to Ruth earlier, just a minute ago. We were already thinking about the next one.
Iterations.
Yeah, because me and her have got this like telepathy going on, right? So just think of that when you're doing things, you know, when you're in your lectures, when you're doing your seminar, your essays, everything. Look at the details. Where can those details be better next time? When your course manager says, or whatever, someone says something negative to you, how do you go back to them and do it better? So they're not, and you win them over. So I think that's a cool way to end it, isn't it? Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
That was good.
Thank you so
strong.
much.
Amazing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.